Get ready with me for a trip to Rajasthan.
After Amritsar, had a great time obviously with my friend Yuvesh, and then got onto the coach. Oh, okay, so this was I remember now. We booked an overnight sleeper coach. Obviously, I mentioned that Yuvesh had to pay for some of the stuff, and then I paid him back. And then what happened was I had one of the lower bunks on the overnight sleeper coach. So big tip for you guys: if you are getting an overnight sleeper coach, try and go for a top bunk. The reason why the lower bunks are a bit more noisier, there will be people going from places that are a bit more local, so they're going to fill up the front, they're going to fill up the middle aisle, they're going to try and infiltrate your space as well. And I'm someone who struggles to say no because it was my first time as well. So I was like, yeah, you can sit on the just on the edge of my bed. I'm a small guy anyway. And then it turned up he was basically hijacking my entire space. Not willingly, because he fell asleep, isn't it? And like, what can you do? But it did make the first part of that leg quite uncomfortable because I was ready to lie down and sleep. And then it was just turmoil because my stomach was doing bits. I was trying to keep it together, but I was vomiting most of the night, like projectile. I've never vomited so much in my life. Anyone who went with me to Amsterdam, you stay quiet. But for real, I've never vomited so much in my entire life and it was... I don't need to describe my vomit.
We don't need the graphic details, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a sleeper bus I've been on. Charles Report. So my experience of this, I'm really unsure of whether I do it again for several reasons. So let me talk you through the night. Actually, I'm talking you through the whole process. First of all, booking it was a ball ache. I was recommended 2 different apps, none of which would let me book because I have a British bank account and they need a domestic Indian bank account. So how I'm going to get around this, I don't know. The only reason I got this one is because I was lucky enough to find a friend who kind of did the bit on before me, and I just paid him cash.
That was the other thing. When you book coach tickets, they'll tell you a particular pickup point, but then they're not always the most accurate. So then I think it's basically like they've got 2 different branches in a similar vicinity, but to get from one to the other, you would easily miss your coach. But the good thing is that they have a booking system such that if you're registered but you have not turned up, they'll call you and they won't like really go until you're there. But at the same time, you don't really take the mick in terms of like leaving without you, for example, or you don't take the mick either by just delaying it as much as you can. They will obviously shoot off, but they did what they could to try and get me from place A to place B. I say that now, but at the time I was really annoyed because I was like, why would you advertise it as place A?
Was it a long kind of connection?
Yeah, they sent a rickshaw, an auto rickshaw, which took at least 10-15 minutes. So that's a fair bit of a way. I would not have been able to walk there, for example, and make it. So that's the kind of blunder that you think, that's not cool.
Yeah. How long did the journey end up being?
It was about 15 hours.
How long was it supposed to be?
8 or 7 maybe.
Shit.
Yeah.
That's a significant jump.
Exactly. The thing with traveling around India is that unless it's a train or a plane, it's not what it seems.
Basic things with set timings.
Yeah. 100%. But then it does get better. Like this was my worst and my only bad one. But every other journey that I did after that was pretty okay. It was exactly as it said.
But did it feel worse because you were unwell, or?
No, I think it was generally really bad. No, I'll tell a lie. There was one bad one later. I wasn't unwell in that, but again, it was just because of disorganization that I felt a little bit annoyed and shafted over.
Yeah, I mean, I've like for every city you've been to, I think my biggest question for every single one of them was why that city? Because obviously there's loads to choose from in India. So why Jaipur? I've
always wanted to go. I really like Marwari culture. I really like Rajasthani culture. So I wanted to see as much of Rajasthan as possible. But I ended up choosing... So Rajasthan, as much as I was really craving to see Rajasthan, because I was so unwell, I didn't get the most out of it. And I was really quite upset about that. I saw Jaipur and I saw Udaipur. Udaipur I saw a bit more of, but they both ended up kind of being more like towny and touristy spaces. I quite like the Registan, which is towards the west of Rajasthan, and that's a lot more deserty. It's places like Jaisalmer, for example, didn't have time to go there. So Jaipur and Udaipur, just because I've heard of their culture and stuff, but didn't really get to enjoy it as much because I was so unwell. But I did take some more time out to just rest, really.
So I finally made it to Jaipur. Wow, silhouette. But you know what? I really cannot be bothered to move right now. I feel like I already know my body today. The vomiting took it out of me last night. And I think the kind of, what's the word? The way that the bus kind of just threw you around. Like it wasn't painful at all, but I reckon my body's going to feel a bit more of it today. So, all of the plans that I had for Jaipur, I think are going to have to be on a let's see how I feel basis. Because right now, I just freshened up. The bus kind of stopped us actually, not in my last stop that I booked, but a little bit earlier than that. Ended up having to get an auto. That's okay, I'm getting more comfortable doing so. Cost me £1.20 to get here. For a half an hour drive through all that traffic. Asked the guy to drop me off at a dustbin so I could throw away my vomit. Asked the guy to take it to a public bathroom so I could freshen up. And he did, he said it smells a little bit cleaner and stuff, so it was kind of nice. And now I'm sat in Jawaharlal Nehru Garden. Albert Hall Museum is not too far, about maybe a 10-minute walk, but actually I really can't face getting up right now because I feel like the vomiting took it out of me, but then also the fact that I haven't had breakfast yet properly. So what do I need to do? Number one, I'm going to look for a pharmacy. Probably to see if they have Buscopan to help with the stomach cramps. Because strangely, I don't feel sick, but my stomach still feels like it's doing something, and I don't know what that something is. So I need to watch what I'm eating and drinking today. I'm hella craving fizzy drink. So I think that might be the only form of sugar and energy I take today. So Coke or Sprite or Lucozade. So we will hopefully try and find someone that does like a plain slice of bread or something, or toast rather. I try and avoid tea maybe. Yeah, I think it's the sickly sweet that's I need to stay away from and go towards more tangy and salty for now. Been a lot of overdose of sugar recently. That's where we're at. So let's go on an adventure. Pharmacy to find Buscopan. Number 2, need to catch up on some prayers, so find a mosque. And number 3, that's when I'll actually start my day. I am only here for less than, wow, not even 9 hours, so I'll see what I can cover with the health I've got. Just don't force yourself, it's not worth it. You've still got a whole big trip left to go. It's really not worth it. Alright, so I'll catch you on the other side.
Right, let's go on an adventure and then let's go to the pharmacy.
Well, it was an adventure because I was like, well, I now need to find a pharmacy. Never thought I'd have to do that. Pharmacy to get Buscopan and then find a mosque to maybe freshen up and whatnot, and then I'll explore Jaipur. I said at the beginning, isn't it? Like I'll do this city as much as I really want to do it on a what do I feel like basis.
Do you feel like you got to do the things that you'd, or at least got what you wanted out of it when you arrived in Jaipur?
Not really, but again, that came down to time. I never had such a long time there anyway. It was literally a day trip, and I mean, I didn't even stay overnight. It was morning till night, till evening. Sorry, that I was there. So no, I didn't get what I wanted to out of Jaipur, but I did get a ride around. You'll see in the next videos and stuff around the key places and stuff. And I just think they're also really touristy anyway.
Yeah.
What extra would I have got by getting off the rickshaw and just staring it around? But I'm sure that will pop up in a look. Staring at it as I walk around. But I'm sure that will pop up anyways when I carry on with the videos.
I think obviously I read your journal entry for Jaipur. It's quite short because it's only a day. But and a lot of it was obviously not negative, but quite like, got through the day, made it through the day, saw XYZ. There wasn't really any feelings attached to I saw XYZ. Was there anything that still kind of stands out to you as an experience while you were in Jaipur? Not
really. I mean, you can even tell from my demeanor now. Like, it's not a city that I'm just really buzzing about. I think I'm kind of excited because I'm trying to do it in a series order. I'm waiting to get to Mumbai because I'm like, I can't come on. That was lit. I want to talk about Mumbai. I want to talk about Goa. I want to even talk about Kerala. I want to talk about and so on. So Jaipur.
Did you need this experience though in that way to be able to enjoy those ones?
Yeah, I would say so because I met this guy afterwards. He was basically, once I was feeling a little bit better, I had freshened up. I walked down to what we would call a taxi rank, where the rickshaws were standing, and there was an e-rickshaw. I think, it was an e-rickshaw.
What's an e-rickshaw?
It's kind of like an electric scooter, electric bike, if you like. And he kind of offered to take me around. I was like, listen, I don't have a lot of time. So he offered to take me to some of the major places. I might have mentioned what their names are in there. Hawa Mahal, Jal Mahal, Amer Fort, and back for 800 rupees. So I got myself my buskapan. I found the mosque. I prayed. I freshened up. I updated my journal. And then I went and found him, and he was trying to get me around all of these places. But he was trying to do a really in other words, he was just your average Joe rickshaw driver, right? But he was trying to move like a travel guide as well. Doesn't know anything about the places, but he knows what the locations are. So all he would do is just take me there, like take a couple of pictures. Do you want me to take a picture of you? And then drive me around to the next part.
आमेर फोर्ट वो है इसमें नाव आती है नदी आती है ना ठीक है उसके हिसाब से ठीक है भैया
And then he was still trying to charge a fair bit as well for it, but I had already agreed with him beforehand that this is what I'm going to pay you, and he was like, yeah, that's fine. So then when he tried to ask for more, I was a bit like, you'll get your tip, but that's it. After a while, you get to work out what is worth what and who deserves what. So I think that experience needed to have happened, but I don't feel like any regret. Oh no, I didn't get to see the Rani Mahal and stuff. I still got to see the beautiful images, which will come up as B-roll footage. I still got to see them from the outside. Any kind of significance of them and such would have been a bit. Any kind of significance of each one wasn't really explained to me just because I didn't have that opportunity to. It would have been nice to maybe check out a few of the markets, but then a bit like I mentioned in the first video, temple fatigue. I'm sure you get market fatigue. After a while, you start seeing the same stuff and you wonder, was it all just made in China?
Yeah.
So, that's that.
It's interesting though, because obviously seeing your first videos on, I think the first one, was it Amritsar or was it Kashmir? Kashmir. You had a lot of guilt around paying people for their services and what's the right amount to pay and stuff. But obviously now...
Oh yeah.
But now there's a lot more comfort in saying we agreed X amount, I'm going to give you X amount.
Yeah, and I think it also helps when you're unwell. It's like, listen, my stomach is in bits. I ain't got the time for your rubbish. Okay, so this is what I'm going to pay you because this is what we agreed, or this is what I think is worth it. And I think it helps for you to coach yourself in that this is my daily budget, boom. And then you stick to that.
Did it get easier to stick to your budget as you went along?
Yeah, I would say so. I wouldn't. Okay, so about budgeting, there was a trick I learned, but really quite a bit late, to be fair. I learned it in Kolkata, which was right towards the end of my trip. Had I had started with that, I think it would have been great. And that tip is literally to set yourself a daily budget. Because I met a guy who, in Kolkata, he was Korean and he was traveling and he spoke to me about it. He goes, I have a $30 or however many dollars budget per day. And then he would convert it to whatever that is for Indian currency. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So he was always kind of calculating things and so on that kept him within his means and his budget, but he was still enjoying life. So I wish I had known that earlier on.
Okay, so I trekked 20 minutes to get a buskapan, and then I googled restaurants, Townsend Bar and Kitchen. Let's check it out.
This was quite nice. It was quite bougie.
So for Jaipur, we had to have a bit of a chill day. I trekked to find buskapan. My stomach cramps. Asr time.
I do miss that part though, the sounds of the azan and stuff. And
so yeah, we, as I say, I trekked to find buskapan and I went to a top restaurant to go and eat, just because I needed to trust the food. My stomach was doing bits. I was craving loads of fizzy drinks, so I was having them. So really, I've not seen anything of Jaipur, and I have my next bus in 6 hours. So what can I do in 6 hours? I've just cut it down, and that's okay. You're not going to be able to see everything in life. My body feels like it's been battered. I think it's a bit of yesterday's DOMs, but also the overnight bus journey. So I'm going to see if I can see Hawa Mahal, Jal Mahal, and maybe one of the forts before I have to go back to my bus. So with that in mind, I'll catch you guys later on.
That was me in the e-rickshaw.
Oh, do you know what I love there though? Because I remember being with you when you were planning for the trip. and you were like, I really want to see XYZ when I go to different places. I'm not planning it, but I'd really love to be able to see these things. And even like over the time that we've known each other, I've heard you talk about different places in India. And then to hear you say that sentence, you know what, it's okay, I'm not going to be able to see everything in life. It's a massive shift in perspective.
To be fair, I've had that for a while. I think it's because I'm quite a seasoned traveller now. It's just something that sits with you because you just don't. But this is the kind of stuff I used to love about Jaipur, the buildings. It's really regal. Like, look at the red bricks and the architecture. It's something very royal about it.
Everything feels extravagant.
It feels like something out of Jodha Akbar.
Yeah.
This is the e-rickshaw.
सही है, आप जाते रहिए। अगर यही है तो बस इसकी खासियत क्या है?
So I'd ask him like, what's special about this building, and he wouldn't know. So someone let me know in the comments what's special about Rani Mahal, because I don't know.
यहाँ पे किसी के चक्कर मत आइएगा।
जी जरूर, आप ही साथ रहेंगे।
This is him telling me don't. He was like, don't get fooled by anyone.
जल महल, ये सामने वो महल है, महल के ऊपर हरा वृक्ष है और बढ़िया देखने का सुनहरा अवसर है और ये देखने के लिए दूर दूर से लोग आते हैं।
So he took me to a little spot where you can see, there he is, where you can see Jal Mahal, and it's basically a palace that's built in the middle of a river.
Oh, wow.
Oh, sorry, a lake.
I assume you can only get to it by boat.
Yeah. But it was coming up to sunset as well, so we wouldn't be able to get there.
Is it a tourist spot or is it?
Yeah. I think so. Again, Jaipur lovers in the comments, just let us know. This was one of the forts, Amer Fort. So people actually go in up there, you have to buy tickets and whatnot, up there, go around and come back out. But again, I think at this point, because I'd seen like some of the forts in Kashmir, I was also a bit like, okay, what new
Did it
thing am I
feel
going to see
samey
here?
by that point?
By that point, I mean, it was already samey. Remember, I said temple fatigue, I kind of
Yeah.
experienced. It was just nice to see it from the outside. I just got enough where I didn't feel like I had not seen Jaipur. But obviously, if you're there, you can definitely spend more time there. For example, so many people might not do Kashmir and other places like I have done. You might just be doing Jaipur, in which case, yeah, definitely make a weekend out of it, go up to these places and stuff. But for me at that time, it was like, you know what? Got to catch an overnight sleeper. The sun is setting. Actually, they don't have last entrance anyway, so that helped make that decision easy for me. And that's Jaipur done before I got onto the bus for Udaipur.